Hello, we're over here in Huntsville at our Lake Vernon cottage, and it's been a couple years since we actually finished this cottage, but we wanted to give you a little bit of a tour of what we did here and the different features that came into this project. We're over here at the entrance of our Lake Vernon project. You can see this awesome timber detail we have here. This is probably, to be honest, one of my favorite details we've done on a project for an entrance. It really just accentuates the area that the entrance is in and helps kind of draw you to the building. We use the Y feature to help hold the roof. Ultimately, it's a little bit overkill in terms of structure, but it definitely adds as a bit of a focal point for the entrance for this building. So one of the other features we wanted to use on this project is we wanted to use the view straight through the cottage to pull you towards the lake. And before you even enter the building, we want to make you feel like you're already on the lake and enjoying yourself. The biggest focus of this cottage is really the landscape. You can see we're over here in the fall, the trees, the lake. That's really our goal, to capture that view. And when you turn around and look at the cottage, we have 16 feet high of glass facing the lake, and windows on the left and right in the basement. The whole cottage is focused on that view towards the landscape. The cottage on this property actually faces due east, and because it faces due east, we wanted to focus a lot of our living space to the south side of our property. And so we have a wraparound deck here on the front with a secondary dining area where our clients can dine out in the evening in the summer, and then on the back side, when the sun is at the end of the day, there's a little bit of a sitting area on the back side of the cottage. Let's go inside our Lake Vernon cottage and look around. Coming inside our Lake Vernon project, you can again see that connection with the landscape, with the view, with Lake Vernon. And as much as we have a lot of glass in here, we actually did something very cool in this project. Our client was very focused on energy efficiency, and so we used a really interesting product called AeroBarrier. And before all the finishing happened in here, we actually sealed the home and made it tighter. And ultimately, if you think about the house and the mechanical system as the lungs of the house, because the house is tighter, the mechanical system, the lungs, they don't have to do as much work to make the house breathe. And so because of that, when the sun is beating in the morning here, the air conditioning actually picks up and works quite well to cool the space and heat it, for that matter, in the winter. We have a very connected living, dining, and eating space here. Our kitchen, designed by Hilltop, built by Shervin, really helps draw some warmth into this room, but as well as create a focal point for guests to entertain and hang out and, again, enjoy the view, which is why we're all here. So looking up at the ceiling here, we actually have this really large steel beam structure that we worked with DK Studio and, again, Tamarack to help achieve, and really we wanted to create a very open space, but the steel creates a bit of a threshold from the entrance to the living space, but is also accentuated by, being exposed, and we ended up painting it black to, create a little bit of contrast in the space. Over here we have the fireplace. We have this beautiful Muskoka granite, and I think the mason was Stepping Stone Masonry that did all the work on this. It's a very cool kind of chiseled edge look, but I think, probably one of the coolest parts, and maybe that steals the show a little bit, is this fireplace. This is a very cool fireplace. It's called the Renaissance Rumford, and the Rumford name is more of a type of fireplace. It's a big, a big fireplace that throws a lot of heat towards the occupants. And probably the coolest part about this fireplace is actually it has a big guillotine-style door that opens up. And as you can see, it's not a very deep fireplace, but again, that's for throwing the heat towards the room. So over here we have our Muskoka room, or our sunroom, and this is on the south end of the building, so the sun comes directly into here, but this is really a room for the end of the day to kind of be cozy with a cedar finish in here, and it's just a really cozy, inviting room for our clients to kind of wind down at the end of the day. So over here at the other end of the building, we have our main bedroom, and we have a gorgeous view focusing right out to the lake again. Every room, I can't stress enough, in this place is just really focused on the lake and focused on that view. We did a really cool thing here. We have a small Juliet balcony, And I find this is a really nice touch in a lot of places because you often want a lot of airflow, but sometimes a window is just not enough. And so having this door that slides open allows our clients to have a lot of airflow coming through into the bedroom. And then our last spot on the end of this building is our bathroom, and it's just a really gorgeous ensuite with a view out towards the lake, and our client can have a bath and then a shower on the other side. So, because our building faces south again, we obviously have our windows facing east, but we wanted to bring the windows on this southwest corner so that we can draw light in through the end of the day into our living space and illuminate this space. Another cool feature that we try to utilize in a lot of our projects is we utilize stairwells at the back of the building to bring light down into the basement, and you can certainly see how this really worked out quite well with the windows here facing southwest and drawing light down into the basement. Coming down the stairs here, we actually did a really interesting mono stringer stair system here because we did have this storage room behind here, and we really wanted to do a mono stringer, but we weren't really sure quite how to figure that out. We ended up essentially doing a half mono stringer where our mono stringer starts at the wall, comes out, and then we mimic the look a little bit going up after that. So bit of an interesting way we tackled that design problem to still have a mono stringer stair. Here at the bottom of the stairs we have a nice little wine cellar. I think wine cellars we think need to be these big rooms, but this is really just an extra deep closet, and it works quite effectively for storing bottles and aging wine and ultimately preparing it to enjoy. So coming down the bottom of the stairs again, we talked a little bit upstairs about how we wanted that light to pull into this living space. We have a little bit of a rec room down here where we have a sofa, a TV, another place just to hang out, and I think ultimately, especially during these times, we want to have some extra spaces for people to hang out and kind of get away from each other, and so this is a great little cozy spot to do that. We worked with Hilltop on this tile wall, and our client ended up choosing a gas fireplace down here because we really wanted this to be a space that you can instantly be comfortable and enjoy, and you didn't have to lug wood in and start a fire. And so that's really ultimately another part of the comfort and the goal of this space, for it to be easy and to be comfortable. And on the other end we have 3 bedrooms as well as a bathroom down here for people to stay. So down the hallway here we have a laundry room as well as this really tight mechanical room. In some respects, I'm a little bit of a geek for mechanical rooms. Gravenhurst Heating and Plumbing work with Tamarack to, and the electrician as well, to really create this really tight mechanical room. There's almost no space left untouched in here. And I think the other thing that really worked to the advantage is we actually have 10-foot clear ceilings down here. So this really helped utilize all this space.